To promote my new flower shop, I had one place print my business cards, another print my brochures, and a third, my signs. Now my roses aren't red, my violets aren't blue, my geraniums look dead, and I don't know what to do.
Staples can help your business stand out with signs, banners, and brochures that are a true reflection of your company. And now at Staples, spend $50 or more on print and marketing services and get $5 off your next in-store purchase.
Now my business is blossoming, and I'm spending less green.
Exclusions apply. In-store only. Ends 6/23/18.
Blog Talk Radio.
What's going on, good people? It's your boy Clint. Welcome to the GFT Radio Show, blogtalkradio.com. Got a great show lined up for y'all tonight. We're going to be talking about minorities as authorities. Now, before we get started, I would like to introduce my co-host, but I don't think they're on the line right now. So what I'm going to do is give out the phone number. Y'all can call in anytime you want between now and 11:30. Phone number 657-383-1155. That's 657-383-1155. Call us, join the conversation. Now we're going to discuss the effectiveness and challenges and social conflicts facing minorities as law enforcement and members of the justice system. So we're going to get in tune tonight. Y'all, I need y'all to go follow our Google Music. Go on Google Music, Follow us there. Yeah. YouTube, iTunes, all of that.
I got a big SoundCloud. Yeah, I'm here. I think Willie's on the line too. Willie, you on the line?
Yeah, what up, though? It's your boy Willie Styles. What's going on, y'all?
What's good? What's good, my brother?
Got everybody on the line.
Everybody on the line. Give out the Teespring information for those of y'all who want to cop some merch.
Yes, it's teespring.com/store/GFT Radio copy merchandise. Tag us and then let us know you're wearing our brand. What we're doing, guys.
Facts. All right. So y'all want to just hop right into it?
Yes. Who came up with the topic? I think it was it you, Chris?
I did. Yeah, I did. It was a little clip on Instagram going around from it was a documentary about the Ferguson situation, and it was a clip to where the guy, he was standing in front of the police officers on a bullhorn. The majority of the police officers was white, and it was this one black woman. She was an officer. She was there, and he was talking to her. Him and a couple other people were talking to her, and he was saying to her, he was like, I understand the predicament. Basically, he was like, I understand the predicament you in. You know what they did was wrong. You know what they found, but you know you can't go against the code, because if you go against that blue wall, you're going to have issues. So, he was basically saying, we understand you got to feed your family or whatever, but deep down, you're right. When you with your friends, when you with your family, you speak the truth. You feel me? And then, within the clip, you could see the few white officers glance over at her, and she's trying to hold her composure, but you can look into her eyes and see her tearing up. You can see it was touching her in a certain way. So, to me, that kind of made me think, like, dang, with all this going around, and I know a few minority, a few black officers, Spanish officers that are on the force, and it was thinking, like, how hard is it for them? They're trying to do their job. Not only trying to do their job, what about their personal feelings? What about, when they're home amongst themselves, how do they really, what do they really say? How do they really feel? That's what made me come up with the topic, wanted me to talk about. And also, on the flip side of it, because we also talk about members of the justice system as well, I was thinking about the Meek Mill case.
Okay.
The judge in his,
right.
Yeah, the judge in his case was a black woman. You feel me? And so one would think, all right, it's a black woman, black male, she should, not cut him no slack, but she should understand. But it was like she went overboard. She OD'd. Like she had a personal axe to grind with him.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of weird. So with the DA, his parole officer, you had the governor, you had all these people. Like Meek shouldn't be in jail, but yet there's one judge, black woman. It was like she just wouldn't let it go. And I was thinking, it was like, is she trying to send a message? And if so, what message is she trying to send? And then I was having debates with people, online. It was like, and it was basically like, no, what we're not about to do is, diss this black woman as a judge. My thing is, okay, but what if she's not for us? And this goes back to the topic, to something similar we was talking about before about celebrating first or celebrating other black first accomplishments and stuff like that. And I was like, why are we can celebrate for that person, but does that person really represent us?
Mm-hmm.
So one could celebrate her being a judge. Oh, that's a black woman judge. That's great. That's showing young black girls that they can be judges. But why should I celebrate her if she's not for us, if she's against us? Just because she's a minority, I'm supposed to celebrate that? No. That's my thoughts on it. So that's basically how I came up with the title. And, I just want to hear your thoughts on it.
Well, you want to go ahead before me, or?
Sure. I can chime in. I kind of look at it from the same point that you do, Clint, in terms of, I know some officers, I know some people in law enforcement, and, I know that there's that difference between what police officers think and what the general public thinks, right? And I think that's the big thing here is that, we expect a level of reasonability, right? To think, the ability to think this through and to see it from our point of view, and we expect a level of empathy from officers of color, when it comes to those who police our neighborhoods, those who are in our cities, and that either represent us or are non-majority officers. So I feel like, and I think a lot of people feel like these officers should see it from our point of view, and like you said, that's the big question here is what do they think? What are their feelings behind this? And I found it interesting when you posted that video how that female officer was reacting to the situation, and I found it interesting more. I felt like it was kind of a one-off, really truly, because most of the officers that I talked to, and the ones that I at least had some conversations about race relations in America right now, is that somebody's radio is on.
Yeah, somebody did try. I got 6 jobs.
Okay, so
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So literally, they had the point of view that you would think a white person or a white cop or somebody of privilege would have, in terms of saying, well, what did the perpetrator do, or what did the person that ended up dead do, or what and it was shocking to me in a way, but then I had to look at it from their mindset, right? I think officers of all colors, just all officers in general, every time they go into a situation, the first thing they're thinking is, one, they got to protect themselves. Two, they have to assess the situation. So everybody's guilty in the situation when they walk in the door. Not from a legal standpoint, but from an interaction standpoint. They have to assume that everybody is an adversary in the situation, and they have to figure out who's right, who's wrong, who's agitating, who's being put upon, so I think that we have to kind of look at it from that point of view of they have a different mindset than we do, and we expect, I think, too much of black officers, minority officers, especially other minorities, because they definitely don't have the same kind of viewpoint that black people have when it comes to, police and black people interactions. So I think it's a lot that we have to kind of look at from the standpoint of our thought process versus theirs.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna speak my piece, and then I'm gonna add the caller in because I believe I know who it is. So if you are who I think you are, please hold on a couple more minutes. But I want to say like this: I think that with minorities, whether it's black or Latino or other races on the police force, especially black and Latino, we identify with them because they look like us, or they kind of know some of the how we feel about towards cops. Like with Latinos, some of them are undocumented, so they have somebody that kind of understands and might understand their plight and might not come at them a certain type of way. And in black people, we understand that if it's a black person, of course, they may understand how we feel and why we respond to police in the way in which we respond. But at the same token, I'm not going to expect you to show me any type of leniency just because you got the same colors, the same colors as me. I'm like the same way like we do with black people. You're supposed to do your job the same as everybody else. But we're asking you to respect us and not treat us how a lot of these other cops of other races have treated black folks. But and we said this on previous shows, if you acting a fool and the cops telling you to calm down, you acting a fool, you get slapped up. You brought that on yourself. But if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, if somebody is using excessive force, whether they're black, white, Latino, whatever, then that's a different ballgame. But I just think that as black people, we identify and say, okay, this is a black person. They might not go how if it was a white cop that might be racist, pull me over and act up. So I'm not going to tell anybody to not do their job because I know a lot of my friends are cops, and I wouldn't want them to be caught up and get caught out there. But I understand that they have a job to do just like we have a job to do. I can't do my job and try to hook black folks, my friends, up because they black. I'm not about to do that because then I risk my job. But I want to add the caller in.
All right, go ahead. Before the caller speak, I just want to say,
go ahead.
A lot of issues I've ever had personally with the police were with minority officers.
Maybe they have to overcompensate.
Some of the worst, yeah. And I got an article. After the caller speak, that I want to read part of this article and touch on that specifically. But I know for a fact, most of all the horrible interactions I had with police officers were with black or Latino officers. For just like
sometimes
you said, they try to overcompensate. They try to be extra.
That's why I said they should understand where you're coming from, but doesn't mean they will. But go ahead, call. I think it's Dane, right?
Yep, that's me.
What's going on, brother?
Hey, I missed some of Clint's earlier statements. I was just logging in. I'm more interested in hearing your article before I say my piece.
Okay, now this is from NPR.org. This was published back in February 4th, 2017 by Gene Demby. And the title of it was, Does Having More Black Officers Reduce Police Violence? And, in part of the article, it says, a new study that will be published in the next edition of the Public Administration Review will complicate that body of research even more. What we find is evidence that having more black police officers probably doesn't offer a direct solution to the problem, which is, police brutality. That's what we're talking about in this article. He said, indeed, the researchers concluded that the ratio of black officers in police departments rose up to a certain threshold, so did the number of fatal encounters between officers and black residents. Any small group will sometimes be the strongest proponents of the larger organization's norms and values, and people will sometimes see that as the mechanism to be seen as legitimate. The tipping point appears to be 25%. When black officers reach that ratio in the force, the rate of fatal police-involved incidents levels off. The study also found that once the police department became about 40% black, the trend line flipped. The more black officers a department has after that point, the less likely the incidence of fatal encounters with black people. But the study suggests that what departments really need isn't just to simply add more black officers, but to reach a critical mass of black officers. In fact, so many black officers that they would be overrepresented relative to the local black population. Very few local police departments reach that 40% mark. The researchers looked at the 100 largest cities in the country, and only 15 have police officers with that proportion of black officers. You feel me? So
I guess it depends on where it's at.
Right.
Yeah. So
Right.
but yeah, basically what they're saying
That's what
is,
I'm saying, yeah.
yeah, and also like just adding more black officers isn't going to work. You have to reach a certain, like you have to almost, add extra police. You got to overdo it. Because it says one reason is that black officers might be tougher on black citizens because they are especially invested in stopping crime in black neighborhoods.
Agreed.
Yep.
He also said that in institutions where some belongs to a distinct minority, they are often more likely to adhere to the cultures of the organization to prove they belong. Nicholson and Crotty said that despite the study's findings, there are other reasons that a police department may want to increase the number of black officers on the force. But the findings raise an unsettling question. Might a city like Ferguson, in attempting to diversify its police force, actually unintentionally foster conditions that led to more violent interactions between black people and the police?
So that's my thing about this is the mindset. I think and that's the reason why I brought this up earlier. Is I think that and to your point earlier, Clint, in terms of your interactions, your personal interactions with black officers, I think the mindset the officers is what we have to contend with, because, like you said with the article, is that the black officers are more invested in stopping the crime, holding people to a certain standard, because they know that, or at least they feel that there's no reason and there's no excuse for the levels of crime in their areas, right? Then there's the situations that they encounter and the way that they handle them. When you see, and I think this is kind of, it can be good and it can be bad on both sides, is that you see a lot of times black officers that are of a certain age, when they encounter younger black males, they may be more authoritative because they feel like they have to be not really a father figure, so to speak, but be a disciplinarian to the point of, like you said, they kind of overdo it. They go overboard and they escalate the situation instead of de-escalating it, and almost not as bad as what we've been seeing in the news with the way we're seeing some of these incidents happening, but still in a way that definitely turns people off when it comes to their interactions with the police. Me myself, I've been lucky where I've had nothing but good interactions with black officers. I've had good interactions with white officers too, but I've had nothing but positive, really positive interactions. But then most of the officers I've encountered were also closer to my age. The one day I was speeding and an officer pulled me over. He couldn't have been more than 5 years older than me, and he more related to me than chastised me about the situation. He told me not to ever do it again, and he would they would take my license or whatnot. But he basically gave me the whole speech of, I understand how you feeling, what you're doing out here, but you got to be conscious of what you're risking, not only your life but other people's lives, blah 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 blah. So, but he did it in a way that you could tell he cared more about making an impact on me than to be pushing me down. you know, and I think that's the difference, you know, is those interactions. And, you know, I watched this one, I think I sent you guys the link. There was the Black and Blue documentary where they were following the two officers. And, you know, I think that's almost a skewed view, too, because you have these officers who are doing their best to do what's right for their communities because they're part of those communities. But you see so many cops that are black or white that are more about, you know, this mindset of, you know, everybody's wrong, I'm right, I need to figure out what you did wrong, blah, blah, blah. The scary part is that you have these officers, and as we've been seeing lately, the cop-out with some of these white officers shooting black people is they're afraid of the people that they're policing, and they're afraid of the situations that they're going into. And even in that Black and Blue documentary, the young black male cop, he mentioned that, you know, he's afraid of the situation that will get him into a position where he'd have to pull his weapon. And it's like that fear is what us as black men fear, is that we don't want these cops out here fearing us or fearing the situations that we're in. We're to the point where they pull that gun and they're thinking more of protecting themselves than thinking about our own safety, you know, the general public safety. So that's where that mindset comes into play, and the problems that can be, you know, escalated by these cops, black or white, who have this mindset of shoot first, ask questions later.
Yeah, I still don't buy the I'm scared for my life. You walk in situations and you understand them. But like we said this in many of our podcasts before, like with every situation is different.
Yeah.
Hello? I think we might have lost some.
Might have lost her, yeah. But
okay.
Yeah,
well, I just wanted to add my little personal experience. And it's sometimes, like I said, people have these preconceived notions. That's where I think a lot of these incidents go wrong, is when officers has preconceived notions. Now, it was this officer, black cop. I'm going to say his name, Flowers. Years ago, this is probably over 10 years ago, my dad had just died. And I remember I'm riding my car in my neighborhood, and I'm about to go to the corner store. But, you know, it's a park right there. So I see one of my closest friends. God bless his soul, he passed. So I stop my car, I hop out, I run in the park real quick before I go in the store. I dap him up, show him some love, tell him about going to the store real quick. As I'm walking out the park, you know, cop pull up, black cop and a white cop. Now Flowers the black cop, his partner white. Before I know it, they got, you know, threw me on the hood of the car. I'm like, oh, what's going on? He's like, yeah, I know you just did a drug transaction, this, that, and the third. Where is that? Before I knew it, he's in my car, ransacking my car, throwing my speakers out, everything. So then when they're trying to run my name, you know, I'm a junior. But when I tell them my name, I don't tell them junior. I just tell them my name. So when they're running it, you feel me, it come back, my dad name come up. You feel me? And it come up, you know, he deceased or whatever. I'm like, my dad dead. You know, well, it came up his age. So they like, you ain't such and such year old. I'm like, you ain't 42 years old. I'm like, I know, that's my father. So he like, nah, fuck that. You lying. He getting all aggressive. Now, luckily, at this time, an older gentleman from my neighborhood, he's coming out the store. And he looks at me and he says, Clint, what's wrong? Clint, what's going on? I'm like, man, can you tell them my name? I'm like, this has been my neighbor for practically my whole life. Tell this man my name so they can let me go. Because he think I'm sitting up here lying. You feel me? And then when he realized he looked like a fool, mind you, the white cop, the one that calmed the situation down.
Oh, wow.
You feel me? The white cop. So then I was able to go. That same cop, right? That same cop, a couple years later, we at the park, a different park, not too far. Me and my boys, we playing basketball. We just got finished. All of us sitting there sweaty. You feel me? Stinking. everything. The game just finished. They come riding up in the park. Next thing you know, same cop. He cussing everybody out. Who bag is this over here? Who bag is this? My boy like, yo, we just got finished playing basketball, bro. It's like, we not on no BS. We not none of these young dummies out here in no games. We not. He flips on my boy like, who you talking to? I'm like, whoa, like, what's wrong with him? Right? Like, what's wrong with him?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Same cop. Fast forward, a couple years later, now at my job, we need security. Cops come there and they do security. He comes there, he's doing security. Now, he act like he don't remember me. You feel me? But I remember him clearly. But see, now he talking to us. Because guess what? That same boy, young man he was talking about, yoking up, doing this, that, and the third, too, he worked there also. So now he talking to us. And like, I guess it shocked him, like, bro, we smarter than you. Just because you got that badge on, you think you were superior than us. You thought we was just some young dummies out here.
Right.
But see, we having a conversation, we done corrected you about 20 different times. In politics and then just other stuff. So now his whole demeanor changed. Because he act like he wanted to act like he didn't remember us. You understand?
Right.
And then once he feel like, then he was shocked. So now every time he see me, it's a smile and a wave. I just laugh and I just nod my head. Like, come on, bro. You was trying to lock me up for nothing. You wanted to beat my boy up for nothing. Because you had these preconceived notions. And that's where, when somebody talking about, oh, they scared, they going to, like, nah, it shouldn't be that way. It's how you train. You feel me? And if you being from this neighborhood, you should understand. You mess with a girl from this neighborhood.
Well, you know,
like
I said, I think that's why I think it's that whole thing of the mindset is that, you know, they're those preconceived notions is because they feel like the people that they're above the people in their neighborhood, or they feel like they know everybody and what everybody's doing, or they feel like they got a you know, some information that we don't, you know, that kind of thing. And you know, and you know, and like I said, you know, it's not every cop, it's not every situation. Unfortunately, you know, you've been on the bad side of that. I mean, you know, we hear about that though way too often. You know, we see it way too often, where, you know, there's cops who take their position way too seriously and think that they have to lord it or laud it over somebody and put it over their head as if, you know, they're above somebody, you know. But then, you know, like I said, you do have cops. I mean, like there was a resource officer at my kid's school who, you know, in the streets, it was so funny to me because in the streets I would see him out there cracking heads and pulling people over and doing all kinds of stuff, you know, but he would get around the kids and he would get around the young people and he would be mentoring them and he would be, you know, being, you know, trying to pull them out of these situations. I mean, he did the what they call it, outreach in some of the community centers where, you know, he would come in and he would talk to them, you know, the kids that were acting up, kids that were involved in gangs, stuff like that. And, you know, he was a different type of person, a different kind of officer with them. You know what I mean? Trying to help them, you know, in that situation. You know, and that's what we kind of need. We need that officer who knows how to see the difference, who knows when to be tough and when not to be tough, when to come in and de-escalate versus escalate. We don't need any cop escalating, and that's one of the number one issues I think we have. Is that these cops come in and they escalate these situations, and I think that's what we are losing. I really don't know when we ever had it, but what we're losing is having cops that have the ability to de-escalate situations. We have so many bad press, you know, of cops doing things where you can see it's just way out of hand. Like the recent issue with I forgot her last name, but a young lady named Shakisha, who had been pulled out of a Waffle House when she was you know, complaining about some service that she was getting. She wanted the district office number or something like that, and you can see her in the video talking calmly, you know, explaining her situation. But the officer that's that's dealing directly with her was, I mean, literally escalating the situation, yanking on her clothes. I mean, like I'm watching this video thinking to myself, like, I don't even understand what would possess a grown man to stick his hands into a woman's clothing the way he had his hands in her clothes, to think that was a proper way of handling that situation. But he then him and his gang decided to jump on this young lady. I'm like, even if that young lady was resisting, but you know what I mean, was being resistive of leaving the restaurant, the way that they threw her on the ground and then pulled her clothes off, that was ridiculous. It was completely ridiculous. I understand the young lady's clothes wasn't a lot there. It wasn't a lot there, but the thing is that her clothes were holding on to her. It wasn't her clothes that came off. They pulled her clothes off and exposed her body to everybody in that restaurant. And it was just ridiculous because, no matter what she was saying or what she was doing, it should never have escalated to that. There was no reason. It was over and above what was needed in that situation. Police officers have got to get better training at de-escalating situations. You come into a situation like that, you should be talking to the person about why they need to just leave and move on versus yanking their clothes off and putting them in headlocks. I mean, they literally threatened this young lady to break her arm and throw her out of the store, in which they were doing. He's three officers on one young lady, and all over a fork. And it's like, no matter what it was about, it should never have come to that.
That's like the one video I saw with the twin sisters. They were arguing and outside of school or something. And like I believe the vice principal was out there, and he was trying to de-escalate the situation. Like, sisters just arguing. They sisters. That's what we do. We argue. And the cops got involved. The cops ended up grabbing the sisters, pinning them down with his knee. Come on, children. They had to be either in middle school or early high school. That's how old these kids were. And they had them pinned down. And then so the vice principal was like, hey, what are you doing? These are kids. So he's trying to break it up. And then the cops is trying to fight him. And so the principal, after he gets swung on, of course he swings back. And like the kids are screaming like, that's our principal. Like, what are you doing? He's trying to help them. Like, but it was like, to watch these cops, and they were black, to watch them do that to children, to sit, and everybody's screaming, they're sisters. And then the one girl's like, get off my sister like that. And he's pushing this teenager out the way. Like, get out the way, mind your business. She said, but that's my sister. That is my business. Like, what are you talking about? And then to pin them both down, put your whole body force on these girls, on their neck. You could have broke their neck or anything. Like, they weren't like big girls. They were like little kids, like, little teeny girls. And then when the principal is trying to de-escalate the situation and try to, move on and get past it, you start to fight him. And it's all on video. It's crazy.
I mean, and that's the thing is these cops, they don't care about your size. I mean, like the guy who I forgot what his name was. Actually, I never caught his name, but Plies was talking about him and about the fact that the guy kept asking the cops, what did he do wrong? And Plies was like, don't ever ask that question, because that's when they come in and they want to claim that you resist arrest. And that's exactly what they did to this guy. I mean, they were walking him away from whatever he was doing. Yeah. And he said, what did I do wrong? And they body slammed this guy on his head. Mm-hmm. The guy couldn't have been no more than 180 pounds. And these cops are, like, huge. And they're body slamming him, and they're all laying on him and kneeing him.
Passed out.
And he was not doing anything. Like, literally, he wasn't resisting. He wasn't moving. The guy literally had no control of his body. They were doing all the working them over, but yelling at the same time, stop resisting. The guy was not even trying to do anything. All he kept asking them was, why? What are you doing? Why are you doing this to me? And that's the sad thing about it, is that these cops, they think they're so powerful and they're so above these people, but it takes 5 and 6 of them to put one person on the ground, and they got to, like you said, put their knees in people's backs, regardless of people's physical conditions and their situations, and choking and all that other stuff they like to do. And it's ridiculous. You know, it's like Clint said, it's the training, the lack of training, the lack of being able to de-escalate these situations, the lack of being able to interact with people normally, like normal human beings. They're animals. I mean, it's just flat out. They're animals.
Yeah,
you know,
I
like
think
I said,
let's let Damon jump in.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's real crazy how when they see a black person, it's like their demeanor changes versus when they see a person like a white person. The training is to harass the black people first, not all of them, no matter what color you are of a cop. That if you're a cop of color, you will side with the side of the law. You don't side with your people. So it's already a conflict of interest, because I know sometimes they just want to do their job and go home safely to their families. But training, I'm not sure how much training you can get, and you can be fearful for your life of a person of a color versus a person who just shot a church up, and you treat him by taking him out to dinner.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly what you said.
That is crazy to me, how a person who is unarmed gets shot more times than a person who just got finished shooting up 12 to 20 people, and they get treated with probation or no time served. You get a kid who runs over 4 or 5 people, injures more, he gets probation. A woman votes, and she's sent off to jail for probation, for violating her probation.
Yeah.
It's like the justice system is not tailored toward people of color.
And to piggyback off the training, I done had many encounters, many crazy encounters. A few years ago, my friend was murdered, and then, at the funeral, it was a shooting. It ain't had nothing to do with him. It was just a shooting there at the funeral or whatever, right? Messed everything up. So, I'm dodging bullets and whatever, what have you. And I leave, and I'm upset. I go pick my girl up at the time, drop her off at work. And as I'm going back around my neighborhood to that same park I was telling you about earlier, next thing I know, I have like 10 cars, wagons, everything surrounding. I'm like, oh. The first thing, and this was a white cop, this wasn't a black cop. I'm going to get to the black cop in a quick second. The first thing that was said to me was not freeze, not cut your car off, nothing. It said, put your hands up or I'm going to shoot you in your face, motherfucker.
Wow.
That was the first words that came out that cop's mouth. And I looked at him. You feel me? And I'm no lie to you, my initial reaction was to smirk. Like, what? I was like, you got to be kidding me. So they come, they get me out the car, throw me on the back of the trunk, and just like Willie was saying about they don't know how to de-escalate, and back to the training. Now I'm not moving. Now mind you, it's people in the park, so everybody watching. I'm not moving. White cop come, he grabs my wrist and was like, relax. I'm like, bro, I'm relaxed. I'm not moving.
Right?
I said, you the one that came over and grabbed me. I'm not moving. And I always said, my grandfather was a detective. I was like, for the same police department before he was murdered. I was like, this is the department my grandfather used to work for. He'll be real disappointed in y'all right now. You feel me? He's like, oh, so what, you gonna try to sue? I said, sue y'all for what? You feel me? I don't give a fuck about y'all. So now they going through my car, right? Ripping everything. Ain't nothing but baby seats, Pampers in the trunk, and some groceries. You feel me? So I'm like, look, man, ain't nothing. They were running my name, so now I'm hot. And I know the people in the park behind me, man, I start cussing everybody out.
Oh, Lord.
Every single cop out. You know what I mean? What the hell wrong with y'all? Boom. Guess what they do? They send a token black guy up.
Boy.
To come talk to me. Mind you, it's all white cops. Probably a couple Spanish cops. But they send a one black guy over to talk to me. As soon as he walk up, you know what I said to him? Oh, they all gonna send a one token nigga to come talk to me?
Oh, dang.
I said, just like that? I said, that man just threatened to shoot me in my face. He had a semi-automatic weapon in my face. You want to come talk to me, try to calm me down? Like, who you? You know what I mean? Hold, calm down. He's like, they all work for me. They all under me. I control this. You doing a piss poor job. You're doing a horrible job of training your officers. You feel me? I don't respect none of y'all out here right now. You feel me? I'm letting them have it. You feel me? So then they all feel stupid when they find nothing and realize I ain't got nothing to do with nothing. I was one of the ones out there ducking bullets. I'm all scratched up. What are y'all talking about? You supposed to be protecting me.
All right.
You feel me? So that goes back to that training, man.
Yeah, I've had good experience. I would say the last time I was arrested, and I'm going to tell y'all what I was arrested for because it was dumb as fuck. If you live in Willingboro, New Jersey, make sure you pay your library fine if you have a library card. I never had a library card, but no, I'm dead ass serious. And mind you, I've never had a library card in Willingboro that I knew of myself or took out myself. So I'm in the car.
You're talking about New Jersey to the listeners out there.
Yeah, Willingboro, New Jersey, right? So I'm on my way to the workhouse with a bunch of people that have questionable backgrounds, right? We get pulled over. Everybody looking safe because, you know, you get pulled over, you black, and you're like, we in white, the whitest neighborhood you could be in, getting pulled over. So everybody like, oh shit, let's look safe. Looking safe. Everybody in the car know they going to jail except for me. So I'm like, you know, I'm good. I've been living right. I'm good, right? When I tell you, now the only problem I had with that stop, that police stop was, but I kind of understood why they did what they did because they ended up locking almost everybody up, including me. But before they locked me up, I thought that I was getting away because, you know, I don't have any issues. But I knew I couldn't drive because I don't have a license. But everybody in the car that had license was getting shipped up. So what I didn't like about that stop was that they asked everybody in the car for their ID. I don't think you need to ask for a license or registration or anything like that for me because I don't need to fucking drive. And I'm not in the driver's seat at all. But the cop did explain to me, the white cop that pulled us over, he called his little friends because he realized it was like 4 or 5 black folks in the car. You know, he was like, let me get them people. So 2 cop cars, another cop car came up. And the guy that initially pulled over, he was nice as shit. He was like, listen, I'm going to lock you up. He was telling you why I'm locking you up. I'm locking you up because you have a warrant, blah, blah, blah. He was real calm and nice about it. I'm locking you up because you have now done a warrant. And it says, he was telling you what type of warrant you had. That's how proficient he was. He was real calm. And then he said, I called back up because there's a lot of y'all and I can't put everybody in my car. And I was like, well, I don't have a license, you know. So I'm going to call my best friend so she can come get me, thinking that I'm good, right? And then after they ship everybody else off, he like, look, man, I got to lock you up too. I'm like, what the fuck did I do? I'm like, I'm a law-abiding citizen. I'm a state worker. I don't have any crimes that I've committed as an adult, you know, right? So I'm hoping that he don't run my name because I have issues with popos and training. So I'm like, okay, don't do that, right? So he proceeds to tell me why he's gonna lock me up for a city ordinance, but he can't tell me why. But it's in Willingboro Township. I'm like, I don't even know. I've never done anything in Willingboro that called the cops or anything like that. So I don't know why I'm getting locked up. So he like, listen, I'm not even gonna cuff you. Can you just step out the car? And if you call your best friend, I'm like, yeah. And he's like, okay, just call her and tell her you're going to. I said, what jail am I going to? She told me. I told her. She came. Whatever. She like, I'm on my way. He actually let me sit in the back car. Didn't handcuff me or nothing. He even was like, I think he was upset that he had to like take my mugshot and everything because he was so nice. But then he explained to me what it was. He told me to call the thing. He told me, but this will piss me off because he's smiling and all happy about it, nice about it. But then like, hey, they might come get you. Come get me for what? You can't even tell me what it's for. But like, I say all that to say this. Like, I've been locked up by all types of cops. Not necessarily locked up, but
she made it sound like she just out here thugging.
Yeah, I know, right?
I was a cop too, but this is all when I was a minor. Me and the cops had certain cops. You know, they know me in the system as somebody that might hit a cop. So, you know, but that was all when I was a minor, not when I was an adult. I have gone and give my life to Jesus Christ, and I've been not hitting cops since then. I got as an adult. But this cop was actually nice, and like I said, if you run my name, there's a possibility that you might act differently towards me because you know that I might, you grab me somewhere, I might swing on you. So, but like he was really nice, and he was a white cop, and he explained everything to us. He was calm, he did his job, and he didn't make us feel like we were like the scum of the earth. Like he did, and that's what I've had good experiences with the exception of as a teenager. But then again, I'm gonna chalk it up to me being a teenager and me being hot-headed, and I just, you know, had some bad, poor choices with some cops and me, and some cops had some fisticuffs. But we were okay. Like, I came out okay. But I say that, like, it all depends on what type of cop you get, because all cops aren't bad. And then their demeanor and how they talk to you. Because when you talk to somebody and you have this hostility already from the first gate, of course you're going to go on the fence because you don't even know me and you mad at me. Why are you mad at me? Because I got a warrant? I didn't do nothing to you, sir. I did something to somebody else. Like, why are you, just relax. Explain things to me nicely, and I'll say, but you got these cops that, like Clint said, will come at you and say some more crazy ass shit and then get mad when you react. That's like poking the bear and mad because this nigga mauled you. Leave him the fuck alone. I was chilling.
Exactly.
I made drunk. You might have been drunk, but I'm fine until you cross the line, and then I'm mad. And then, of course, I have a right to be mad.
Yeah. Well, guys, we could talk about interactions, good and bad and indifferent, with cops all the time. I wanted to get a quick discussion in on these interactions and the thought process again, but mainly I was reading one of the surveys that was done about a year ago from Pew Research. They did a survey with cops in I believe it was 8,000 sworn officers across departments across the country, and they had a few questions they asked the officers, black and white, and there was these large disparities in the thoughts of the black cops versus the white cops, and then comparing it to the general public and the general public's viewpoint, and and I think it's telling when you see these numbers of how these police officers think versus how the general public thinks, and then even in the split between the races. So one of the questions that was very telling to me was the perception of the deadly police encounters between black people and officers that we've recently been seeing in the news the last few years. They asked that question of if the cops thought it was an isolated incident or if it was a sign of a broader problem. And so with the white cops, 72% of them felt that it was just isolated incidents. The general public, white people, it was 44% felt like it was isolated. With black officers, there was only 43% of black officers felt it was isolated, but there was only 18% of black people in the general public that felt it was isolated. 79% of black people felt that it was a sign of a broader problem. So, like I was saying, with that mindset, even the disparity between black officers versus the black general public, there's a huge difference there between the mindset and the thought process, right? Where, especially in a lot of the cases we've seen in the last, 4 or 5 years, I would say 90% of those cases, there was either a video taken by a passerby or a body cam video or a police dash cam video involved. and in all of those situations, either there was some kind of acquittal or there was some kind of disparity between what the police, in that area did versus what the general public's, viewpoint was. So I think, for there to be that huge discrepancy, 72% of white cops felt it was isolated, when we know that these problems haven't just arrived. We know that these problems have been going on for years, for decades, for probably millennia, if you really want to be honest. The big picture, the big problem we see here, I think, is just in the fact that these cops don't think the same way we do. They don't look at things the same way we do, and I think some of that is they want to protect their this brotherhood, right? And they want to protect these people that they more relate to than the general public, because when you either play on a certain team or you root for a certain team, you're more sympathetic to them versus you are everybody else, right? And I think that's what it is. That and I think you mentioned that earlier, Clint. It's like they want to appease and appeal to the people that they work with, no matter what the situation is. And I know even in the personal conversations I've had with black officers and black law enforcement folks, they have that stance or that viewpoint of what went wrong or what did the person do wrong, and it's like, not everybody's doing something wrong. Not everybody's guilty out here. Not everybody is causing trouble. Just because you got shot in a police encounter doesn't mean you were in the middle of a crime. Most of these situations we've been seeing, these people are unarmed. They're doing normal day-to-day stuff. They're not criminals. They're not, or they're not involved in anything at that moment. And it's getting out of it's been out of hand, but it's getting out of hand with the fact that you got it on video and you got it on dash cam cameras and all these cameras, and nobody's doing anything about it still in these situations.
Yeah, it's just sad because it's like you see it all around and still nothing has changed. It's like it's justified. It's like every time it's an incident, it's justified by something, or they deem it justified.
I forget. I don't want to say the wrong term, but it's like what's going on, but you refuse to admit it. I want to say cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance, but whatever. As far as the white cops go, referring to Willie's pole, that's that blue wall, bro. You feel me? It's like it's no way you don't see what's going on. You know what I mean? It's too many incidents. So how can all of these incidents just be isolated? You understand? It's letting you know there's a systematic problem. You feel that's across the country. It's a systematic problem. It's a systematic problem. And then, I guess a few black officers, I guess they see it. Like I said, I know some cool black officers. I don't want to make it feel like, I'm bashing black police officers. Like I said, my grandfather was one. So I know it's some dope ones. I've spoken to them, you know what I mean? I've encountered them or whatever. But, at the end of the day, they going to respect that blue wall too. Mm-hmm. And they going to fall in line. No matter even if like amongst us or amongst their family, they may feel a little bit differently. You know what I mean? But I also know some black officers who spoke up. Mm-hmm.
True.
Who have issues within. Yep. I'm talking about here in my city. I know some black officers who have issues with, with other officers amongst themselves. Mm-hmm. You feel me? And I had officers told me, like, you know what, stay away from him. He's an asshole. You feel me? I had officers tell me that. So, like they know. I know they know. You know what I mean? I know, you feel me, they know what's going on. you know, and some of them, like you said, depending on who they are and their temperament, some of them, you know, they'll work with you. I'm speaking about the minority officers. They'll work with you. But, you know, others, they just going to fall in line. They're going to fall in line. You know, I also wanted to touch on the perception of them. Because did y'all find the story recently about the black officer? He was on the scene of a shooting or something. And he was looking for evidence.
Yeah.
And one of the people from the neighborhood called the cop on him.
Oh wow! I've
I
heard
saw
about
that.
one recently,
I did
but
see that.
I haven't heard about one recently, but I know I've seen it before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I seen that. Yeah, he was in his backyard just because he was a black cop looking for evidence, and a neighbor called and said that some guy is up to no good.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the perception for cops, I think you have to get them in a certain setting for them to be a little bit more comfortable with dealing with the public. Like, for instance, I used to work at with the Detroit Lions. And I had to work with the cops, you know, doing security. You know, I got to talk to a lot of them, both black, white, you know, whatever. You know, they seem more, you know, relaxed because they're at a sporting event, but they're still on guard. They spoke to me in a respectful manner, maybe because I had the uniform on, or I don't know what it was. But, you know, some of them were pretty cool. But then when it's time to go to work and they had to deal with the public, you know, some guy got belligerent. You know, I saw that them switch that, you know, flip that switch, and they was more aggressive. You know, like, I'm about to take you to jail. He was talking to another person of another nationality, you know, because he was just being belligerent, and he told him to take him to jail. Now, it was the one time I saw a black guy not go off on another black guy as a you know, cop.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have stories too that, you know, I didn't do anything wrong. Me and my friend were traveling to Chicago, dealing with Chicago PD. My first time. I'm 23, nice car, doing well for myself. Me and my friend get shot at a, you know, it was a random bullet that hit my car. I called the police for assistance. I knew what they were doing at the time, but I didn't make no fuss out of it. They put me in the back seat of my squad car, and they asked me questions where it happened at. You know, this is before GPS. You know, I just told them where it happened at. You know, and I'm in. No, I'm not in handcuffs. I'm just in the back seat of the squad car. You know how tight it is. So I just put my legs up, started, you know, laying back. I made my phone calls to certain people, like, you know, I'm okay. This happened. They was worried. They was telling me, you know, a couple of cops came over to the car and said, "Hey, you kind of comfortable, whatever." Kind of getting kind of smart and smeary, whatever. I'm like, yeah, that's because the situation's over with. I got shot at. We're okay. You know, I'm not one of those people who's gonna be hysterical and be freaking out. Like, me and my boy, okay. I see you going through my car, going through my luggage. You find a bullet? Okay, that's cool. Okay, you can put my stuff back? Thank you. You know, they left me alone after that. You know, they just saw that how cool I was. I mean, I think the way you perceive yourself, you know, the way you carry yourself, interact with them, they see how you're not freaking out or whatever, or you're not being combative with them, does some wonders.
And that's one of the issues.
This is like 15 years ago.
Depends on how they act.
Yeah, this is like this is like 17. No, actually, this is 17 years ago when this happened.
That's one of the issues I have. It's like, you know, you're doing your job, right? Why do I have to speak to you, you feel me, in such a, you know what I mean, a manner not to make you mad? You understand? Like, why do I have to placate you? Why? You know what I mean? Like, that's not how this is supposed to go. Now, if I'm doing something wrong, or you think I'm doing something wrong, and you approach me, Or even like, you know what I mean, let's say you pull me over. You know what I mean? Why when I come to why do I have to be so, make sure my hands is seen with nothing in it, make sure I talk to him in a proper tone, you know what I mean, yes sir, and all this type of stuff, but it's not incumbent on you to speak to me that way.
Yeah.
You feel
it
me?
Seems like we need more. It seems like we got more training than they do when it comes to dealing with each other.
Exactly, Damon.
That's
Exactly.
what we train. We train for self-preservation. We want to live. So we know as black people and minorities, we can't just go off the handles like you see in so many videos of these cops pulling these white people over. And they go off on them hysterically. Fuck you, I don't have to do shit. Get all aggressive, wave their hands in the air, and make it home alive. Whereas if you're black, and depending on who's pulling you over that day, you're not allowed to be mad and upset. Yeah, you're not allowed to be mad or upset. You're not allowed to be annoyed. You're not allowed to talk to them a certain type of way in a certain tone, because you might not make it home. You might be shot there in a car while you're in your seatbelt, reaching for your license registration. You might be shot when you might be shot talking to them, and they feel like you threatening them. And although you went to pull your cell phone out to make a video, you might have pulled out a gun, so they shot and killed you. Or you don't make a position alive. So that's the problem, and I think a lot of people forget that. A lot of people don't understand that. I'm gonna say a lot of people. A lot of white people don't understand it, and it's not to say like all white cops are like this, or all cops are like this. But if you constantly see various videos with African American or Latino men doing absolutely nothing or following instructions and somehow end up dead, you don't think something's wrong with that? You don't think that finally black people are not just crying wolf, that nigga, we getting killed for doing shit. The one guy got killed for getting license registration. He pulled it. They didn't pull this nigga over. They pulled him. He was pulling into a freaking gas station to get gas, and they stopped him.
Oh, gas station, yeah.
Registration.
I saw
the man went and reached for it, got shot and killed. What did he do wrong? Like, don't justify it. And I don't care if this man was a career criminal. I don't care if he was a deadbeat baby dad. I don't care if he liked black girls. Period. I don't care. He did what they told him to do and somehow ended up dead. But you pull over Toby, and Toby done cussed you out, told you where to go and how to get there, and Toby make it home safe. I need y'all to understand that that's a problem, and it is a race problem. And I don't understand people like, oh, no, it's not about race. It is. Because y'all not getting killed. I mean, y'all, some of y'all dying, but not all of y'all. It's not as much as us.
I mean, technically, let me correct you there. It is more white people get murdered.
It is. I thought about that after I said it because we had this conversation before.
You feel me?
But it's just, and I agree, but still,
but they don't.
Be wrong with
they don't demonize them.
You be killing people. Yes, they don't. It don't demonize them. This person was crazy and lost their mind, so the cops had to react. This person was following instructions and got killed. Like, I don't understand how you can not understand that and know that something's wrong.
There's a problem.
Like, it's a problem.
There's a big problem.
The same
we in
with
our after show people.
Yeah.
I just want to throw that out there real quick.
To the Trayvon Martin thing, George Zimmerman was doing something that he was told not to do, and yet he got let off on a crime that he actually committed. Like, I don't understand it. Like, so these situations, and y'all not realizing that it's a problem. And like you go back to the, go ahead.
Yeah, I was about to say, but that's one thing that gets me is, and what I don't understand. I mean, I was trying to look for some statistics on this one, but I didn't get a chance to find the actual stats. But I know I saw it somewhere before where there was a survey done or some kind of discussion that was had among black officers and their feelings about racial tensions on the police force, and there was this large number of black officers who felt that there was substantial problems even within the walls of the police department, between whites and blacks. And I know in that Black and Blue documentary, even the young lady who was on there, she mentioned how, when she joined the force, she was doing it as to try to, do her to be a shining light in the department for her community, to try to, improve police and public relations and that kind of thing. And then she finds out like 10 or 15 years later that, being on the force, that there was this huge group of officers in her own department that were calling her black bees behind her back, that was calling her a nigger bee behind her back, that was, they were like dogging her out because they were white and she was black. And she was saying how it shocked her, but still she knew that there was this problem, there was this discrepancy. And you see that in a lot of departments, right? But you still don't see the outcry or the empathy from the black officers that you would expect, you know what I mean, in these situations. Not every situation warranted, but most of the ones we've been seeing in the news the last 4 or 5 years, they definitely warranted. And and I have to ask that question: why don't black officers speak up? Why don't they put the justice system,
Because at the end of the day, it'll be black versus blue. That's the thing, because they like I get it. We want them to speak out, and I get it. I feel like they should, because they're like the heart. Like, they want to improve relations, they have to speak out and say this is not right. Not only that, it has to go all the way to the top. This is not right. Period. But look at it like from the standpoint of I remember we were talking about this topic, and I told you about this show, Shots Fired with Annihilation. And
right.
And in that show, it was a black cop, young black cop, who shot a white kid, and they, and then he was telling them, like, it was a lot of stuff happening with the white cops were doing in the neighborhoods. They were letting these people become fake cops and be able to, do harm to black folks. So it's like, why didn't you say something ahead of time? It's like, well, I can't, because at the end of the day, this is my job. And then you see it go from we all blue to you black and we blue. So if it comes down to it, we were going to choose the rest of us over you, because you're not that important to us. You're expendable. We'll let you fall on the sword for this one incident, and it's crazy, because you get in those situations where I know some cops feel like, probably, well, I don't know them personally, but I know some probably feel like they can't speak out, because then if they do, like, I hope they have the courage to speak out, but most probably won't, because they feel like it's going to be a retaliation on their family.
Yeah, and that's the sad part is with these police departments. It always seems to be, I mean, like the lady on that documentary was saying how she spoke out on some situations, and these were proven facts of these white officers, calling her names, sending messages between each other. They had group text messages that were pulled from their phones and everything. And when she spoke out about it, her police union reprimanded her and rebuked her about it, saying that that even though they had all this evidence, that she still shouldn't have said anything about it. And it's like, are you serious? Like they retaliate regardless of if they're right or wrong. They could care less. They still don't feel you need to say anything.
It's like the Army. You can't go against them. You have to. It's like, when you don't do something, you have to understand that this is how it's going to be. But if you go against the grain, it's not good. Like, it's like you can't go against it, because if you do, we're gonna retaliate against you, and there's no point. I mean, it's a point, because you want to express what's really going on, but at the risk of losing your job, at the risk of your family being harassed, and things like that. So it's sad. Like, we want people like, and it's the same with a lot of these celebrities. You get outcasted if you speak against certain things or go against the grain. And I was like, oh, you like with Kanye, not to bring him up, but he said something that brought a lot of black people up. A lot of black folks who went against the grain.
Can I jump in on that Kanye?
Yeah, go ahead.
One more time. We're in the after show. Mike about the number. I can give it out. I got it right here. So give it.
1155.
Yeah, 657-383-1155. Call in if y'all want to get in on this next conversation. But your boy Kanye, I think it's all a marketing ploy. Yes. Go ahead.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting to. The dude You don't hear from this guy until something about to drop, to a project about to drop or whatever, whether it's fashion or music. You feel me? Outside of that, that man don't got nothing to say about no political issues. You feel me? Everybody, what I need everybody to stop doing, we're all celebrities, and we had this show before, is stop giving their opinion so much weight to where soon as one of these dudes say something, everybody in the uproar. Everybody, oh, Kanye, mental illness, this, that, and the third. Like, first of all, it's not that deep. You feel me? That's that man's opinion. His opinion, to me, I'm not that emotionally invested in him. What irks me is how everybody else is, how everybody else reacts to what he says, and that's what he wants. That's what he wants. That controversy. He knows sex sells, controversy sells. You feel me? And then basically, be quite honest, what he said wasn't as inflammatory as everybody tried to make it out to be. What he meant. Let me say that. What he meant.
This is what. Can I reply that because I had a conversation. I had a conversation with somebody on Facebook about that too.
Yeah,
go ahead.
How he said it was wrong. What he was basically talking about was, basically what he was saying. He's like, a lot of y'all niggas. I'm paraphrasing, but Harry and Nat Turner basically would have killed a lot of you motherfuckers. That's basically what he was on. That's basically what he was saying. You feel me? A lot of y'all are more mentally enslaved and not physically. He was just talking too fast. You feel me? But when you watch the whole interview and listen to what he was saying, like what he was saying wasn't that inflammatory. Do I agree with everything he's saying? Hell no. I don't agree with it, especially that, love's going to y'all know me. Y'all know me. You feel me? Loving my enemy or hating my enemy, it's a no-go. That's a no-go. Right. I would never love or hate my enemy because, he was on some other shit there.
Yeah, but I had a conversation with somebody on Facebook, and I just simply put, like, after I had watched the interview with Charlamagne, and then I've seen the TMZ stuff, right? Then I've seen another clip from TMZ. But I posted simply, I'm glad that the guy there on TMZ addressed Kanye in a way in which he addressed him, because clearly at some point he lost in somewhere. And then somebody commented, of course, and I mentioned our podcast because I wanted him to know that. I do, like, because I hate people. You say something against somebody or say something that you don't agree with somebody with, and they go put up with a jugular, or they try to say like you got your information, you don't research. First of all, I did. But anywho, I basically was saying to him, this is what I wanted him to understand from what I was saying. What I was simply saying is, like we said plenty of times on our podcast, when somebody of that stature or a celebrity, for whatever reason, goes out and speaks and says what they said, right? They have to be held accountable for it either way, whether somebody agrees with you or somebody doesn't agree with you. And he was like, well, maybe he meant it mentally. Okay, but he should have, like, when you make a statement like how he made, he should have clarified himself immediately to get people to understand where he was coming from. Do we necessarily like after?
No, he clarified it immediately. He said, no, I don't want to do
he did clarify immediately. He did.
Yeah, he said, I don't want to say slavery. Let's talk about prison in mind. He was clarifying himself immediately. Immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, people definitely like to latch on to the negative part and just ran with it.
It's just like you have to be like, okay, so if I was to say something crazy on the podcast and then I clarify myself or say like this, whatever, or you guys came to me and said, why would you say that? Like, what type of shit is that? And you would come at me because you felt what I said was crazy and just out of touch. Okay, but you have to take the good with the bad. But at the same time, as even us as podcasters, we have to understand that when we say things, people can take what we say out of context and how we mean things. And like Willie just said, you take what you want from it. You don't take the whole context from it. But you have to understand that's how it's going to be. And people are entitled to feel the way they feel. But my other problem with and how people addressed this situation was they went to the, you're not woke enough to understand and things of that nature, or you just brainwashed by the media. Okay, so I watch the same thing you watch, right? I got from it what I got from it. You got from what you got from it. How am I being brainwashed? You watch the same thing, and then you're telling me to watch this other video. And did I see this? Yes, I did. I did. So if you're saying that the media is essentially fake news, you're watching the same thing I'm watching. So are we both being brainwashed by the media? Because we both understand that everything that comes out of the media is not at 100% the gospel, but we take what we take from it.
I'm gonna let go ahead, Willie. You handle that.
Yeah. No. Oh no. My thing was just that I feel like all of the hoopla was just blown out of proportion to a point because of the fact that he did clarify and quantify his statement in terms of what he meant. He made somebody quoted the statement on the news and said that he came right behind it and said it was being in prison in the mind, and he was talking about just the fact of the numbers and the fact that Nat Turner and Harriet Tubman, the revolutionary in them, if everybody would have had that in them, they could have turned the tide because of the sheer numbers, right? So he was kind of theorizing and talking about that from that standpoint. Should he have been talking about that? Who knows? Like I said, I feel like the whole thing was a marketing ploy. I feel like the whole thing was a way for him to kind of keep himself relevant, keep himself in the news.
Go make the album.
You said, what's that?
Yeah, because they just reported that he was leaving Los Angeles to go to somewhere to make the album. Like, dude.
Yeah, I mean he literally just dropped a new single with T.I. He's got an album that's dropping. I forgot what day it is. It's like in another week or two, and so there's nothing, there's nothing in this to the benefit of anybody other than himself, right? He's literally putting this out there. So I think sometimes people have to take a step back and realize, I mean, either A, that they can't feel like everything that a quote unquote celebrity says is either golden or going to change their life, because it's not. Or like Clint was saying, we got to stop giving their opinions and their statements so much weight in our lives or in our society, because one, that's dangerous. It's extremely dangerous because these people have no qualifications. They have no background. And they have no importance to the rest of the world. So getting all up in arms about what some fashion designer or some rapper or some singer says is not going to change any tide in the political landscape as it is. We already got bigger problems and bigger fish to fry when we have people in office who aren't qualified. But putting the onus on people who have no real impact on our world or on our society, putting all that onus on them is dangerous. Using them as a method of propaganda is one thing, and that's basically what we were seeing, is that you got Trump trying to use Kanye for propaganda. You got Kanye trying to use Trump for marketing, to sell his product. You got the news using it all to sell their newspapers and their websites and their advertising. Everybody's using everybody, and the American people are falling for it. So I think that's the biggest problem. I mean, I just loved how the internet, grabbed hold of it and made it funny, because that's all it is. It's comedy. It's all comedy. It's all for laughs, because the thing is it makes no difference one way or the other. Kanye is not going to re-enslave us by making the statements he says, and he's also not going to save us if he decided tomorrow that he was going to be like anti-Trump. It's one way or another. It's not going to make a difference. It's not going to change that the fact of what Trump is doing and how Trump is doing it. It's not going to change our government. It's not going to change our laws. So dwelling on it is definitely not going to solve any problems that we have.
Once you tell me you're a self-proclaimed genius, you feel me? Once you're a self-proclaimed genius, listen, man, go handle your own devices. You feel me? Like, once you say something, all right, If you right in your mind, you right. I'm not about to sit here and debate you, brother. You feel me? What's the point of debating somebody who already think they're a genius?
Right.
You understand that? Like, think about that for a second. That man he calls himself a genius. So when anybody who does that, it's pointless even trying to argue with them or whatever, because you're not going to get anywhere. They think they're smarter than you. First of all, you feel me? You think he's smarter than everybody? All right, cool, bro. Like, cool. It's one thing to be talking about right and wrong. It's like me and Willie could go into the courtroom and we can tell the judge, okay, this is right, this is wrong. But then the judge be like, all right, well, tell me the law.
Right.
And that's basically what he did. That's basically what he was doing in that interview. It's really just opinion based. He was just giving his opinion. So when somebody get their opinion, like, I'm not gonna get all up in arms, especially when, like Willie just said, it's not going to affect whatever his opinion is. It's not going to change anything, positively or negatively. You feel me? It's just pure comedy. It's just content to talk about. You feel me? The memes were hilarious.
No, they had me. Y'all seen the memes on Facebook. They had every type. I mean, y'all. I seen the memes y'all was posting, but like this girl had like 20 memes. I was at work dying like that's so tough.
You know what I mean? Like, that's all it is.
I mean,
that's all.
I think
that's all it is to me.
The only thing I think people have to be concerned with, and this becomes personal then at this point, because it's subjective. Because I know for me, I kind of have to separate myself from the artists and their personal beliefs, because I know that not every person in this world shares my beliefs. Not every person in this world feels the same way I do. So if I'm enjoying somebody's work and their artistry, then I'm just going to enjoy that artistry. I'm not going to rest my whole life on everything that they say and do. Now, if they're doing something that's completely anti to my feelings and my beliefs, and I feel like it's detrimental for me to either promote or to support that, then I have to make a decision. So I think that's the only thing people have to be concerned with. If they feel so strongly about Kanye and his inability to separate, Make America Great Again versus Black Lives Matter, his inability to realize that Trump is not going to save us or not going to do anything positive for us as not only black people but as Americans in general. If he can't separate all of that, and they feel so strongly about that, then yeah, they need to make a personal decision about his music and if they're going to support or financially support him in his music or in his fashion. The thing is that past that, everything else is irrelevant. You know what I mean? So they need to make that decision and keep it moving. I mean, I was reading somewhere, somebody said, oh, how disappointed it was another artist though, and they were saying how disappointed they were in Kanye and disappointed in his statements and the things that he had been doing. And I think it has nothing to do with being as an artist. It was more to do with the fact that person that they had worked with Kanye and they had conversations with him and they knew the old Kanye, so they listened to the old Kanye, and so I can understand their feelings about it. It'd be like if I I was chopping it up with Clinton. Clinton's like, man, I'm feeling this Trump guy. I'll be like, wait, I thought you don't like, the establishment. And Clinton be like, nah, man, I'm just really thinking that this is different. Things are gonna be better now. I mean, I would be disappointed in Clint as a person, as a human being, because I'd be like, you done switched on me. That would be different because we had this personal relationship. Versus they don't have nobody has a personal relationship with Kanye besides Kanye. I don't even know if his wife has a personal relationship with him. I don't ever see them together unless a marketing thing, unless they're trying to make
but
money.
TMZ
So
had me dying about that. It was like it's bad when Kim Kardashian trying to speak on like big time trying to be a little bit of hope, trying to say things.
Right,
No,
exactly.
He didn't mean it this way. Like, no, this is what he meant. Like, I don't know what's happening, but I don't agree with him. But he's allowed to think how he wants to think. Like, listen, not me, nigga.
And you know what? I like that. I like, y'all know damn well I don't give a damn about no Kim Kardashian. Damn about no Kim Kardashian. But I like the fact she came out that way and even said she disagreed with him. Because that's letting the people know, like, listen, because that's his wife. That's the mother of his kids. And she said, that don't mean you have to hate him. I don't hate Kanye. But, I'm not about to give him that much energy. You feel me? When you know what I mean? Like, I'm not about to feed that beast.
Exactly.
Joe Button podcast, he said something. You know what I mean? If y'all don't watch it, go ahead and watch it. You know what I mean? And also watch ours. I listen to ours out there too as well. But he said something on there. He said, remember, he done with Kanye. He done with Kanye, period. I ain't doing shit. I ain't buying the shoes. You know what I mean? But he also said, I'm going to play his music. You feel me? I'm still going to listen to Can't Tell Me Nothing. You feel me?
Right.
Because, he separates the two. But he said, what happened? What has happened to the point to where, you remember it was taboo to talk politics? Because once you start talking politics with people, it's only incumbent for me, just like Willie analogy really just broke down. I'm going to judge you. You feel me? You're going to, because once you see somebody's political views and you listen to them, and it's totally anti to what you believe, but you thought that person was cool, and then you listen to their political views, you be like, hold up. You start judging people, whether right or wrong. You feel me? So that's why, like, if some of this stuff, and basically, none of us, very few of us are political science majors. You feel me? We just know what we know and what we read. You feel me? So, like,
I got all,
I don't get too. Yeah, we all just spewing opinions. You feel me? Trust me, everything I say is just my opinion. You feel me? I have very few facts. You feel me? Very few facts.
To admit.
No, I mean, just like I said, when we started, I got to do this show to learn.
Yeah,
exactly.
Do this show to learn. So when I see that, and time running short, I know time running short. But I don't get too much emotionally invested in him. Anybody really, especially a celebrity. Like, nah, they're not about to get me like that.
All right, guys, that was a great podcast. It was a great show tonight.
Definitely.
I'm sure we'll get a lot of listeners.
As always.
We see y'all listeners. Y'all are listening to our podcast, and we appreciate every last one of you.
Yeah, the numbers is definitely going up. The numbers is going up.
Yes, and
the
we
stats
love it.
is going up. You feel me? And
yes.
we only getting better.
Indeed.
We appreciate everybody for listening. Definitely.
Y'all know where y'all can catch me at. My blog at kingstruth.com. And I'm gonna say now, I'm gonna start getting a little political on there. I'm gonna start putting my opinions on this. That's just my poetry and stuff like that. You can also hit me up on my Twitter at eTrentonCrewme, Instagram KingStruth609.
Willie?
It's your boy Willie Styles. You can get at me at Willie Styles everywhere. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I'm Willie.Styles on Snapchat. I haven't been on there for like 2 weeks, but hit me up on Snapchat. And WillieStyles.info for all my links. AskWillieStyles.com. Talk to y'all.
Of course, it's your favorite girl. I am Sunny_D. Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter. Catch me on my blog. I'm reservedlyme.com. I'm everywhere, guys. I try to be. I need to get on Twitter more. I'm like not on Twitter. I got on Twitter and I ran into the outburst today. But yeah. Anywho, check me out. Follow me. I'm brave my. But check out our website, gspradioshow.com. Check us out on Spreaker. We're on Spreaker now, guys. Find us. Google us. We're on Spreaker. iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play Music. We're on YouTube. And, of course, here at blogtalkradio.com/GST Radio Show. Thank y'all for listening to tonight.
Holla. See y'all in 7 days.
Holla.
Bye, guys.